And NRG pick up C9's map pick of Haven, and they will go up in this series 1-0. Welcome back, everyone. Golden Boy here, alongside with Mimi and Rivington, as we look to break everything that we just saw down. Now, we did see and we did talk about a fair amount before the wrap-up of the game, but let's go ahead and, I guess, tie up some points here, some loose ends, if we will, Riv. I think it's very clear, though, right out of the gate, one of the things we were looking out for, the IGL battle, the adaptations, who was going to be the one to really try and bring that front and center. And, of course, it was Finesse. An incredible call that he had on that Haven game.
A bit of a diffie if you look at the IGLs for that one. And seeing how both played, you have to obviously give credit to the players making the frags, making everything happen. But the way that NRG adapted and moved around what Cloud9 was doing, attack to defense here, NRG attacking, was so superb. It just seemed like they were reading Cloud9's defense like a book after seeing that defense strat once.
Yeah, look at this round. This is the pistol from the very start of the game where NRG went for their classic C hit, where they're pushing deep and trying to put Artis in a position to fight towards defender side. It's fun. That didn't work out. They got absolutely shut down by a flood retake. And now, a little later in the half, next time they go back for this one, the adaptation is really good. You see, they don't actually fight through in the same way. They're still sending that utility to clear out backside and are in position to spam if it happens, but they realize that that flood is possible, so they actually wait to tap the spike until they put this lockdown, which they know is going to bait out this ultimate that could have been used to flood in on the retake to fight them while they're vulnerable. And now instead, they have util ready, and they're in a great position to fight this one out with another ultimate surging forward for NRG to win that. Finesse was fantastic at finding these adaptations so quickly throughout the map.
It really seemed like it wouldn't be something C9 could come back from either, because the way they defended in those first rounds was amazing. All the paranoias hit, all that util on the site retake hit. So NRG figures they changed that up once. C9's defensive protocols don't work, and we saw that from site to site. C9 started to get mixed up, and they lost a lot of rounds on that defensive first half.
And that continued into the second half as well. I think in particular, the way that they were getting map control on the defensive side for NRG was great. So often, C9 wasn't contesting a lobby control, and Artis would just walk up in the mid-round, post on that angle, and then consistently, NRG was getting to stack heavy towards B or C and anchor on these sites. But in that battle of the Jets, it was Leaf who was honestly the more impressive as an individual. Despite his great individual pop-off, it still wasn't enough for C9.
It becomes tough, right? We talked a little about earlier about those teams that are relying on kind of one big hit, one big person to go in, and if they lose that, right, you lose Leaf on the instance where for some reason both Jets are in short face-to-face, or it's a different instance where he gets opt. It didn't seem like Cloud9 had a second answer that was as strong as the first one in that round. So the audibles were a little shaky.
Yeah, they definitely were, right? And I think that just goes to show, right, let's not forget about the coach, Chet, right, and the whole team really just putting their brains together to make this thing happen. And it has been an impressive thing to see. But on the other side, though, we know the MCE and the rest of the boys in C9 are not to be trifled with here as we move on, though, to our AIM Lab shoot-around. And, oh, my God, I'm moving the desk again. Someone needs to put a stop to this before we get to the match. So here is the AIM Lab shoot-around with the one and only Zeppa. I'm going to break this desk somehow, Mimi. But, yeah, Zeppa, in keeping it, focus on him here, obviously, the talent, unreal. Kind of been, it wasn't really that much of a factor. It wasn't really what we were talking about coming in that Haven game. You want to see Zeppa really be involved in the conversation going to map 2, Mimi?
I want to see him shooting like he is in the same lab shoot around right now.
I mean, this is the best kind of aim you can possibly have.
I'm getting motion sickness.
93% accuracy? Doesn't get better than this.
He's looking like 10 out. That's crazy.
This actually is the one AIM Lab challenge that I struggle the most with, because I keep forgetting that I have to go back to the center. So I go, I'm like, oh, wait, no, never mind. That's why I just stick to spider shot.
He's losing his
It's like, maybe it won't go to the center this time.
Yeah, maybe not, oh, the humanity.
Yeah, but to talk about Zeppa a little bit. Throughout that map, he was solid, but I think, honestly, to surmise it, it was kind of a diff in terms of calling and ideas of the team. It was such a well-played map out of NRG, but for C9, you still saw those good moments. Zeppa's util usage was still great. He still set up Leaf very, very well and played solidly individually, but now we head to Pearl, and this is a really interesting one, because the two comps these teams play are, like, crazy different.
Yeah, it's a difference of philosophies for Pearl, but Cloud9 has to have a little bit of doubt creeping in the back of their head, because you lost your map pick on Haven. You didn't just lose. You got picked apart a little bit, with your battle plan, which is a little bit demoralizing, Riv. Now you're going into Pearl, and you know that you're going to get some wonkiness from NRG, but it's going to be the good kind.
It's going to be, the good kind you hope you can figure out, right? They're not too wonky to where they're diversifying their strats to where, you cannot have a defensive protocol on them. And I'm saying that from C9's view. They had trouble defending what NRG was doing on those attack sides of the site.
NRG plays the Harbor Viper composition, but with the addition of this Raze for Artis into the mix. Not many teams have went for that, but I like the idea, particularly when you're playing against other Harbor Viper teams.
And what's the reason? Like, what is the advantage of Raze versus, Jet or something?
In my opinion, a lot of the idea was around nades to deny Harbor Viper Cove plants, which are really common on this map.
For sure.
It can help you in that. It can also help you in retakes to have that Raze nade to clear things out. On top of that, the Roomba is also really nice to help clear through. I felt like that was mostly an exploitative anti-Harbor Viper composition, but C9 doesn't play Harbor Viper. They play this crazy Phoenix Sage comp that's so different than anyone else.
I love it because I am really big on teams right now that are working together. Everyone together. It's not one person
doing
that has
something
to
different.
go in and doing something different. So with that Phoenix, Phoenix will be in front and you'll be behind that, but everybody has to be on Phoenix's coattails, in a sense, if it's not a fake. Be there, follow it up. Phoenix is your drone going in with ultimate, and C9 has worked around this as a team very well. Not one person going off and doing things, which they can with Leaf. But if they have to bring the team together, it's my favorite style to see. And Cloud9 is perfect at it right now.
Yeah. It really is. And for Cloud9, what this Phoenix is really strong at on their attacking sides is mid control, is arc control. Having the flashes to get into that space is super nice to have, and it gives you a lot of options in the mid round. The Sage as well can really help with those plants. It gives you more variety. You can ace split, walling off one portion of the map. There's a lot you can build off of it. But it's also a good comp against Harbor Viper. We keep talking about how do you beat this composition, and this has, I think, been Cloud9's answer to that, because you have the double flashes of the Sky and the Phoenix, and every time someone's going for one of those classic B hits, they're going to be flashing through, fighting deep, and attempting to shut that down. That's how they won that crazy comeback against CG.
Yeah, well, then I guess to kind of, give the viewers at home and people here in the arena, a little bit more context than maybe, how would you stop it? How would you stop it if you're if you're NRG? Apologies for that. It's so hard. He's still messing that one up to this day. But seriously, how would you stop that, knowing that it is so unique? Do you play your composition? Do you play your game? We hear players say that all the time. Or do you try and counter-strat?
I think they absolutely do, but I think something this team already does well is on their attacking sides, pushing through, pushing deeper, not instantly trying to run back and full play post plant. They're actually really willing to take that brawl, and we saw it in the first map, where when they realized those pre-takes would come through, they waited to plant, and they were prepared to fight.
Oh, so out of the gate, we're going to be getting the Jet to start off with. Leaf, always good to see him on that roll. Interesting. We'll see, though.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, this is a little different.
This is going to be very different.
There's the Raze.
That's a Killjoy usually. So, yeah, we have the Artis' Raze. We know that'll be blast packing in towards the back hall if they go to B.
Are they running it?
Sky?
Yeah, that's my quandary. Is it going to be Harbor Viper for C9 as well, or do they go back to like a classic Astra comp? There's a lot of options here. Ruby's controller pick will be the answer.
Yeah, maybe they feel like, well, there's a Harbor for some. Maybe they feel like they just can't get away with the shenanigans against NRG, so they're going to play the things that they know work. But I don't know. Rooney's going to go with the Killjoy here.
Yeah, interesting on that one. We're looking still to see if this could be that Harbor Viper. There's still potential for it on the side of Cloud9 here. If they do make that change, it's going to be interesting to see, which they do they'll lock that in.
Okay.
It's a Harbor Viper composition, and it's actually Celsius on the controller role as well. But now is the question, I haven't felt like this kind of exploitative idea with the Raze, we haven't seen it fully work out for NRG thus far. Do they have it functioning fully here?
Oh. Riv?
I'm interested in this because I've always thought right now does it have to be against the Jet, but the Harbor against the Jet is amazing. It's what shuts down Jet's walls. We always forget the Jet's on a corner. How do we get her off? Well, it's not. Just block her with a big wall. So having the Phoenix on the composition for Cloud9, I thought prevented that. But now they have a Jet. Leaf is on Jet. Are they just going for long the off game?
And it's Leaf and Zeppa together on the Jet in the Sky. Such a good duo for C9 in this map.
Oh, well, I hope everyone's strapped in. You got yourself a snack, a drink, and you're ready to go, baby. It's map 2, and we're going to send it over to the finest casters this side of the Mississippi. It's Brennan's Sideshow.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy at the desk. Yeah.
Who's on the other side of the Mississippi?
I don't know. Where is the Mississippi? I don't know, Josh. I don't know. I don't know my geography. But we're heading into map number 2. Pearl is the battleground where both of these teams are facing off and already upsetting our expectations, the desk expectations. We thought at Cloud9 we were going to be playing that, you know, the double flash comp. We were talking about the Phoenix potentially being played. It looked like a good answer to this standard meta that's being settled to some degree.
Yeah, and also it ended up being quite predictable, I think. And we've already seen teams actually like EG hard counter-strike what was going on. You know, you got to give credit to Cloud9 for the comeback, but also remember that they were down 3-9 in the first half on that map against a team that's on the kind of the opposite side of the table compared to NRG. So this is very interesting. We haven't seen Cloud9 run Harbor Viper at all. This is their first time trying this.
Entirely grouped up, actually. All 5 players on either side. A fast dog straight through, and that's a dash to disengage. And a response. NRG look to try and take up all that space. Still the angle's blocked off by the High Tide. There's Cloud9 who are the victors in this engagement, that skirmish that was taking place.
They're so fast, and it looks like another pistol round that Cloud9 will win. They've got both of them on Haven. That was actually half of their rounds that they were able to acquire, pistol and anti-eco. Som's got something to say about it, though. And Crashies, he bought the Ghost instead of buying double Nanoswarm in this round.
He's lost all positioning.
But also, Zephyr doesn't know he's here.
Last player standing.
Touchdown. Frenzy doing work. Up to Crashies here, but what a great beginning for Cloud9. I mean, taking a brawl in mid there. NRG as well, just putting their entire setup in terms of they just really wanted to take that space, but it was just disrespected off the rip.
Another great idea. I mean, Cloud9 in every one of these pistol rounds has been able to find a player on NRG, in fact, often Ardis, and punish him. And it's not because Ardis is in bad spots. It's because they're not anticipating the level of aggression coming out from Cloud9 in unusual situations or timings.
This is gonna be fun.
However, Cloud9 didn't really win too many of the gun rounds once we got deep into Haven. It was mostly that pistol success. So that's gotta change.
NRG with a heavy stack on their eco over towards B. Thought process behind us as well. I mean, B is where most of these rounds land when you're running this double controller with the Viper and Harbor.
Yep.
Most post plans end here on this particular site, so it's just the way it's worked out.
Interestingly, we didn't see that in the Loud game against Sentinels.
Yeah.
But we did see that in NRG playing against MIBR. That's one of the big ways in which NRG were really heavily pushed on this map last time they played it. They just couldn't stop the B execs from coming through.
And all of them grouped up, hand in hand, making sure, all right, you got your partner. Come on, let's make our way through the spawn.
I mean, I think this is just a situation where it's dive to spike time, isn't it?
Yeah.
For Cloud9, I'm really intrigued to see what their plan is heading into the bonus. Do they have something cooked up? Is it just going to be a default B hit? And if so, can NRG hold on?
Overwhelmed. Flashes in their faces. Both sides really just trying to opt into making the most of it. Okay, going down to the spike there. An expensive round, actually. Cloud9, I think, were trying to make the most of it to try and farm up some ultors by getting some easy eco kills, but that went a bit skew for them.
Yeah, you look at the economy here. This isn't really a bonus for Cloud9 anymore. Three players full buying up, and Leaf's a little far away from his Blade Storm. Maybe Leaf will be able to get it online for the next round, and maybe that'll help bolster their economy if they lose, but actually it seems like there's a lot on the line heading into round 3. And everybody from Cloud9, apart from Rooney, grouped up over a B. Cascade, Flash, Viper Orb, all the classics. We've seen them before.
Yeah, this is what we're more used to. Steady takeover towards B long. The Harbor Util very good at just trying to incrementally taking a lot of that space bit by bit. And now they're waiting out the timings. A big opportunity presented to them actually as the Viper Wall goes down here because it's their time to strike. Looks like Crashies was ready for it though, spraying it down but returned with the fire. He's traded. Ardis in Heaven could be a difference maker. Tap of the spike, forcing out the nade, and the feeder Celsius has to back away here. And it gets a bit awkward now. Still a minute on the clock.
But that's the Cove burnt.
It's been the goal of NRG, honestly, as well. Just making sure that they use their util to try and burn out the important cooldowns, that important utility. With no Cove, there's no easy plant.
and important that Artis didn't just send an aid into the cove. He actually threw it where the plant was coming down. Those are two different things.
Victor's watching this angle. It's slightly a charm, but not enough to win it. Leaf taking the battle straight to them. Pushing all the way through the spawn. The counter spam in play. Flash. Zephyr was caught, blinded, has to back away. The Horse now on the Trailblazers fast. They want to try and re-clear that, but no one to push off of it. 2v3. It's hard. Very difficult indeed. 2v1. Celsius building up that reckoning, making sure that they seal this round out by utilizing it. That's just hoping for a singular duel to be taken. He finds his first fight, yet time is starting to become a bit of a problem. Celsius, he's low. Might even argue that Finesse might even be favored, and indeed he is. Plays that to perfection.
And it's all because of the bad plant spot that FNS is able to win that one. It is extremely difficult for Celsius to win that when it's planted in a spot that he can't jiggle peek. And why did it get planted there? Because the cove was baited out and Artis' nade denied the first attempt from coming through.
You're starting to see the ideas behind why they're picking the Raze on this map. It's brought into question. A lot of teams opt into that Jet, but it does make sense. Raze is very good. The utility, very good at trying to lay that plan.
And now Cloud9 are in a bit of a pickle.
Time out.
They're going for a force. A Bulldog on Leaf and brought down to 400 there, Zephyr.
This is a weird buy.
Leaf is going to have his Blade Storm for the next round, so I don't mind him going for a hero. You know, hero Bulldog, I suppose.
Yeah.
But for Zephyr, right there, going to be a weird one.
It is a weird one. Down to 400 credits. Not a lot left, but fully grouped up now towards A.
Wave crashing.
Even one player, that's Jake, just watching mid as well, and he was removing any sort of utility that was gathering. The dog was broken prior. Seeker's now being used, and that's a double face. Wow! Swinging straight into it. That's taking a fight. A lot of value to be gained now, because Cloud9 dropped into that player disadvantage. High tide in their face makes it so difficult to try and make those contact plays that they are gearing up for. Side by side, blocked! Oh, Jake, the reactions there. Finesse just couldn't quite flick to the side to manage it, and this could get opened up. Cove blocks up one of the angles.
But it also kind of allows Cloud9 to walk in. They've tapped the plant.
Sticking it.
Right there.
30 seconds left, getting into that post plant. A bit of a wide swing there from Jake. He was hoping for something more close. Default angle, Zephyr cleared. Good awareness from Artis to know that that was compromised. And Rooney trying to make the most of it. Risks taken with that swing in main, but it needed to be done.
The devs were criticizing Cloud9's audible calls on the previous map. But I actually think despite losing round 3 and 4 here, Cloud9 have been good at calling something unusual with their aggression to try to equalize the round. In round 3, it was Leaf walking into B-Link and Zephyr walking into Spawn that got them back into things. And this round, despite the fact that they're in a 3v5 initially because of those 2 kills, they made it somewhat winnable. You know, Jake with a reload, Zephyr gets deep, they get the plant off.
Yes.
One of the things that we really credit this Cloud9 squad for is their ability to, you know, find those timings between the first layer of util being used, the second one as well. Taking good fights in them.
Zephyr's got a stinger again. This is what we were discussing earlier about them kind of ruining their economy in the previous round with Zephyr buying down to 400. Otherwise, though, it's still a good buy for Cloud9.
See if it becomes the difference maker. Wall in their face.
So grouped up.
Yeah, incredibly grouped. They want to pop flash play through this. Seekers are used. Flash in their face. Everyone's blind. Well, no one able to take the sightline. No one able to take a clean fight aside from Leaf.
That's ridiculous. The Seekers do everything there.
Yeah. I mean, 2 of the players couldn't see anything near sighted.
Not at all. I like the idea even from NRG. They get the pop flash through, they drop the wall, and there's a 3-player face. They're also very spread out, so it's difficult for Cloud9 to spray them down. But,
gun here.
I mean, at the end of the day, the timing they took was exactly as the Seekers were coming from the other direction. And that's always going to be a risk. When you can't hear really your opponent, and you can't see your opponent, you just go in off intuitive timings.
Certainly. Som as well is playing really far back into spawn. It's important to take measure of this one. He's one away from the ultimate. He's either hoping for a kill, or if he does get it online. The Reckoning, you see this being used a lot with these Viper Harbor comms to retake B and make sure that people can't play the deep post plants in the back of halls. So it becomes a really big, important ultimate to keep an eye on. But
you know,
no casualties towards the end.
Take a look at this in the replay. You see Leaf gets blinded, but it runs out quicker than the Seeker blind does.
Yeah.
So he's able to get back and readjust his aim, get those two with the Blade Storm before the NRG players can recover. And you got to think, does that change the way that Cloud9 approach B? Are they now more timid of that Viper wall? Without Seekers there to try to help them? It's possible. Clearly that's NRG's plan, is that they want to fight aggressive B main, and then it's always a threat in the future, something that they could be doing anytime Finesse has a flash.
While this B take was happening as well, Som did manage to pick up that ult orb, so he's got his ult for this. But still a fight taken. Victor, there's confidence there. Get traded, and Artist still wants to put a stop to it. But a showstopper crashes as well. Position held down, and off-angle jiggle of the movement. Just magic being performed.
That's one of the things that NRG could not pull off against MIBR. Was just anchoring that back area and stopping the players from overrunning B halls.
Now down to that desperation, the double face.
Good trade.
Yeah. Nicely done. Celsius spotting out the positioning. 2 seconds until he's got his own wall online. There's enough time here with 40 seconds, but no cove, so opportunity of a safe plant. He's hoping for an easy fight, isn't he? Anticipating a top heaven position. Nade rebounds. That's close. Into the corner. Trying to make the most of that one, but can't isolate the fight that he was looking. And so 3-3, even is the scoreline. NRG seem to have a handle in terms of how they want to tackle a lot of these post plants. And even just denying the post plant from getting off as well in the first place.
Definitely. That was a situation where Celsius didn't get the cove baited out, but the showstopper from Artist stopped the plant going down, and that makes such a huge difference. For NRG, playing a retake there is actually not a big deal either, but they've been leaning more towards hard anchoring B. That has tripped them up against some opponents. Don't get me wrong. But when it works, and Artist definitely has adjusted the way that he's playing these situations. That's not where the snakebite was intended to go from Victor, but I don't think it's going to bother them too badly.
Trying to meet him in the fight here. There's a flash into the cascade. Som. This is risky. Fight taken. No one watching the sidelines.
Down A.
2 for his troubles. Return of fire left into a 3v4 now for Cloud9.
And it's actually a bad high tide that Celsius threw. Didn't cover Art and allowed Finesse to take contact and Som to swing. So Celsius, with a couple of those so far, maybe demonstrating that small lack of experience on this.
This is so proactive by NRG. They've got players pushing all the way out through B, so they know that this is going to be landing and ending towards A. And Artist's job, just to delay. Satra's being used to push them back, and they are encroaching the position.
Yeah, Cloud9 are getting small. And Crashies has got such a good idea about the timing.
Artist just needs to hold on, he can't manage it. Fighter taken, is clean, but no, out in the open.
Spike down.
Spike dropped down to the floor, but the Viper's Pit still active, but there's a lockdown to answer. And now a decision has to be made by Cloud9. Do you plan? Do you run away? You got 25 seconds left. You have to end A. In theory, they're just going to make the run all the way, the sprint to B.
I mean, NRG can hear this happening. Victor's going to try to beat them, but no utility, no nanoswarms, no snake bites. 10 seconds remain.
And this is it. Time is of the essence, and they don't have enough of it.
What a reflank, though, by Victor. The plant, safe.
Spike planted.
Post-plant positions, though, can't really play back towards Pillar. They're not going to be facing towards Victor, but does he get checked? Do they even think of this as a possibility?
The wall up allows Zeppa to reposition. Ah, and this post-plant could be deadly. Taking up spawn control. Back of halls as well, not watched for. And it's NRG who are left guessing indeed. Incorrectly, Victor just didn't have quite the reactions to find that fight. Still the flash makes it known. Crashes though. Didn't expect that re-swing, Zeppa. I mean, listen.
An aggressive play.
Boundless confidence from him.
I think that's a great idea, though, from Zeppa. If he backs off in that situation, the spike is not planted for him, and he's given away where he was by virtue of the flash to begin with, so he's just in an unfavored position. So sure, it's a gamble going for that level of aggressive re-swing, but he found the timing. Cloud9 recovering another situation after a good setup from Finesse and Som towards Art. Cloud9 themselves going to be taking the timeout.
There's very good adjustments in that round.
And again, NRG are winning a lot of these early duels. Like, sure, that didn't happen on round 5 where they went for the flash through the Viper wall, but generally speaking, NRG have been dominating the early engagements, and Cloud9 have had to try to recover, try to get some level of aggression off, or go for these big rotates. How Cloud9 were able to get those kills in backside A on that round, I have no idea, because we saw from NRG's perspective, they were getting swarmed. There was a player reflanking A, there was a player pushing R, 2 in backside A. Cloud9 should have just been surrounded there, but the 2 anchors maybe just getting a little too dug in from NRG.
Yeah, a bit overwhelmed.
Hard to tell.
And Artis, he had the game plan at the back of his mind. He just wanted to delay for as long as possible, but yeah, that missing timing. I can't believe they got the spike off as well. Running all the way to the other side.
They've made this half really competitive. We're finished with the first quarter, and Cloud9 lead by virtue of picking up that pistol. And one really competitive round, round 7. Round 5 donated to them a little bit just because NRG went for that aggressive play where they got caught by the Seekers. But this really has given Cloud9 a chance of putting together a very competitive half. Here's that same high tide being thrown from Zelsis that doesn't block information towards Art. He's just trying to get it off right at the beginning of the round instead.
And a reclearance from NRG. Pushing all the way through A there with their own Trailblazer, but they're now backing away once they take that space. Look, timing's important. Jump spotted. They've just got to be aware that they could be at least contacting through. Alarmbot spots Jake though. And the spike is here as well, so it looks like the end goal might be this B, but Cloud9 really don't have the personnel. I mean, the rest of their team are miles away here.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre, but I think it's because there was so much noise being made by the defenders over towards A at the beginning of the round. It is strange, though. I think if there was any level of defensive aggression towards B right now, there's only 2 players here. They're actually going for this.
They're going to pop flash through. Timing. Target acquired, and guess what?
There it is.
Back. Yep. Punished. Spike dropped down. And already foot on the pedal there.
30 seconds
Not
left.
letting it loose whatsoever. Still watching it with a triple face at the end. That's cleaned up. Nicely done. I think Cloud9 caught a bit unaware there.
What?
Something was called. I think they wanted to try and fake A and just end hit B, but there really wasn't enough time in a round.
No, there certainly wasn't. And on top of that, well, listen, if NRG don't play aggressive on B, maybe the fake works.
Sure.
Right? But those 2 players on A are still going to be very, very far away from any kind of B hit coming through. And NRG's comp is still decent for fast retakes, so maybe slightly overcooked there, and it's going to drop Cloud9 back down onto an eco, just as they had a good opportunity to keep momentum going.
Not letting any pressure off, are they? Straight through into the site now, dash forwards. And that flash is great, isn't it? They've set up for the easiest kill of his life, yet Victor, he does return. With the fire comes a kill, so Som anchoring hard in this position. Nade close as well, no one clears it. Yes, Elsis. Okay, drop down to a sliver of Hell 5. Does get the kill. Cove, oh my goodness. Spam down. No covering fire available.
Jake was looking to be the lurker in this round and really not able to find anything.
Yeah.
No serious pressure here. Very unwinnable 1v3 by the look of things. Spike way down towards Victor's feet too.
He's getting a rifle. Jiggle.
I think compared to the way that Cloud9 were playing their previous composition, this one definitely looks less refined, but I think that's to be expected. Wait a second! Oh my word.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, I can feel it.
Maybe called that one a bit early.
Listen, when it was the 1v3 and I was like, we're starting to weave storylines.
Yeah.
We're giving it all around. I was like, uh-oh, wait, this could get dangerous. This could get dangerous, but
there are the small things with Cloud9's attack side here that just don't seem to be as well fit together as their idea with the previous composition. And I think that's to be expected, and the reason why is because it's Super Week. They have 2 opponents to prep for. A lot of prep work, including redoing this composition and trying to incorporate the Viper Harbor for the very first time.
Yeah.
So you're not really expecting it to look perfect from Cloud9. The fact that they have 4 rounds is still very competent so far.
It might be well earned, honestly, keeping a lot of these game plans quite simple. You do have good ults to try and take this B hit through. That's where the presence is of the players, and the Reckoning is going to be used to clear out this site. So they're not going to have this as an option to use when the retake starts to come through, but they do have that lockdown in their back pocket. Nevertheless, at least not wasting time, is he? Look at that. Plan starts to go down. It was spam from Victor. He was hunting for the Seekers. Now they start to see it, flooding all the way through. Plant does go down, not too sure on the positioning. It's chaotic, it's messy, but there is a Reckoning at their feet, so not bad. No stable ground, but it does fade away, and the lockdown did enough to push them away, so still holding on to this Hall's control, and this battle that's about to take place here is so damn important, it's critical. Flash through, it connects. A wider swing, the jump peak by Finesse as well! Oh my goodness, the adjustment! Celtics dealt with, reset there, that is a round win for Cloud9. Blink of an eye.
They countered with the right ultimates to keep NRG back and left that one in a situation where there was 2 players back site and a couple of players over towards B long. But it's this play from Zelsis. The spray control on Ardis is so good. So good. These Cloud9 players are demonic with the Phantoms.
And individuality as well. One of the core strengths of this Cloud9 squad. Oh, we're about to see an updraft play.
Get out of my way.
I don't think I've seen this work since the first time at Lock-In.
Yeah. You're also probably not going to be see Ardis opping on the raise.
Good point.
So he's probably not going to be on top of that box, but makes the play anyway.
And Cloud9, they're favoring B now. That was where NRG was struggling before. We've seen NRG opt to go for some aggression as the difference maker. Whoa, Ardis just getting away there. Wall back up, threatens that he could go back into Halls.
He did hand Leaf a couple of opportunities. We just rip a head or 2 off.
We just saw Som re-clear B link with a cascade, looking for that lurker. And this is Rooney on a late backstab.
NRG doing a very good job as well, using utility in kind to push back the B hit. I do notice all that high tide's used as well. You can see them rotating those cooldowns. This timing is important from Rooney, but again, it's time. Ticking down here. 33 seconds left, and NRG have the right read on all of this.
30 seconds left.
Heavy stack in terms of their players. Cove, launched down at their feet, immediately bursted down. Rooney doesn't win his fight. Out, updraft. No easy. Okay, wins the fight. Was handed to him. Leaf gets it, but they are squeezing that reflank attempt, and NRG have got a handle on it. They understand full well that the hit was coming through. Jake's got the most to do, hasn't he? Viper's Pit. Doesn't opt to use it. No time left. Taps the spike.
One enemy remaining.
And, well, Crash is all he has to do is survive here. It's round 1. Expensive, yet still.
Well played by NRG. They threatened repositioning so many times with their Viper wall there.
Round to use our crits and ability.
Dealt with Rooney fairly well. Rooney did, in fact, go 1 for 1. But NRG knew that the flank was coming through, dealt with that. And in terms of the site here, delayed it for so long because Cloud9 were worried about somebody repositioning on the left side from their point of view, somebody hiding in that little gap that the Viper wall creates, somebody being back halls. You know, there's just so many things for them to be concerned about there. And NRG's spam, NRG's utility keeps them back. Another just straight up B hit. The A side of this map sometimes simply does not exist. Jake with a Viper's Pit. Could that be a difference maker?
Well, in the middle of all of this, there was a reflank towards mid, and utility was broken, so Cloud9 should be worried about the reflank, and with the Viper's Pit in their faces, B just looks unassailable, but they're going to do the counter pit. Okay.
Spray and pray.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to this, isn't it? Good luck casting. Phantom spray on either side. A messy affair.
Anyone who takes a step in there is going down to 1 HP.
Well, a pit.
But now Victor will have a good idea.
And I think that's that early pressure from NRG. It was Ardis breaking the turret. They're worried about the reflank and re-push, so they have to go back to re-clear it.
But I mean, you're fairly happy if they try to end B here. If they do re-hit B, they're going into the pit. And it's not like Victor has to be too worried. They still have turret, they still have alarm bot. It's going to give them good info. This is going to start to bring the NRG players back to B.
They're really going to try and lurk through mid.
Oh, this could get crazy.
30 seconds
It's
left.
all over the place. I mean, again, down to like 25 seconds in this round. The pit is still up. The site is split into two when it comes down to this fight. Crashies.
The nade's good.
Yep.
Less than 20 seconds.
Push them away. The positioning is more than recognized. Because look
Finesse.
at who's holding this one. It's Finesse. He knows the lurk timing. He knew the mid was compromised. And it's
10
just down
seconds
to
left.
desperation.
Finesse can hear them running.
Running their legs
6
all the way
seconds.
through. There's 5 seconds left. 4 seconds left. Gotta get a plan. Not enough time. Oh my goodness. Failure on the final round. And it's NRG with the round win.
You move.
Pushing it back.
And only milliseconds difference there between Cloud9 pulling off a last-second plan and having something to fight over, and this being a half that favors NRG.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit scrappy there with that final round in the half itself, but NRG have shown some good signs, I think, as well. Definite improvements as well from the last time that he ended up playing Pearl as well as a map. But enough about us as well. I believe we've got either the desk or someone else. I'm not too sure. Someone waiting for this halftime toss.
We've been waiting for you, Brennan.
That's why we pay him the big bucks, baby. Anyway.
We're here for you.
Dude, what a game. Holy moly. Crazy to think Josh was on the money there. Seconds we're splitting whether or not Cloud9 had something to play for or it just being a favorable half for NRG. And now we're 7-5 in, and I got to give Cloud9 credit, Riv, to be able to do this with a composition that they have not played on an official, at least not here in this stage.
No.
Quite impressive.
And they keep their pistols consistent. They go up to bonus, lose a bonus, yada, 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 easy. But no, looking at the way Cloud9 was doing this and what Cloud9 should be able to do with a new composition, I think 6-6 is a great half to have.
7-5.
7-5, thank you.
But could have been
against
6-6.
NRG. Yeah, right. It was right there when we got up. I was like, yeah, this is 6-6. Not even worried about last round. But looking at what Cloud9 produced here, it looked promising for the second half, but I think NRG is only heating up at this point. We're about to see some crazy attack pro.
They are, and heading into the second half for NRG, their attacking side is really strong for them. Right now, 60% win rate. But what I want to focus on is how they vary between the normal B hits that you expect at these Harbor Viper comps and playing a lot of the mid-round. This is a team who oftentimes you will see end late A or even on this B site, plant not at that default in the middle, but deeper in because they're really playing in that mid-round. But when they do go for these harder executes, NRG is really good at getting aggressive in their post plans and not over-relying on their utility.
You see the way that the Trailblazer moves in this for the entrance of NRG's site. They check backhaul, but from reverse side, they clear the site as much as possible while scaling into it, moving forward as they gain control of that backhaul. And honestly, in the position that they have, it leaves MIBR wanting with the utility they use. They're not getting info, they're not finding the targets that they need, so it's contact play once MIBR gets into the site.
And that was from their game last week where they showed us some of those really good game plans on Pearl. But you rewind even before that game versus Leviathan, when we were so impressed with Finesse's calling, it was the read that he was finding on the attack side of Pearl. This is where they're strong, and for C9, Harbor Viper on defense is pretty hard.
We talk about Finesse, IGL still in the lead right now, topping the board for his team at 13-8 to
That's right.
He's 5-9. So
You got to feel pretty good when your IGL's fragging like that. Well, let's go ahead and send it back over to the casters who have no idea where the Mississippi is located. It's Brendan Sideshow.
Where is it?
No idea where the Mississippi is located, and also no idea how to throw to a desk, apparently. Yeah, we'll brush over that one, but 7-5 is the scoreline. Steady lead here for NRG.
And that's despite not winning a pistol round at all in this match. That's been the big thing that's carrying Cloud9 forwards. Half the rounds that they've won have been pistol and anti-eco. Let's see whether that trend continues. It's a very heavy stack on the B side.
I mean, this is more than heavy. It's almost the entirety of their team. Looks like they anticipated this is going to be a bit of a play. This is a cute play that has been cooked up with a snakebite across, but NRG slow it all the way down so they don't get too much done, but Leaf has pushed himself in a 4 position. The question is, do they anticipate it? Do they recognize it? It's watched for. It's an entire firing squad. The Trailblazer as well. Dash to disengage this as a nade at the back. There is coverage there. Bit of relief from the pressure, yet still NRG who's favored. It comes down to that. The shots rattle back and forth. And damage done to NRG, Josh. They are weakened.
Barely any health between them. It is a 3v3, and actually NRG got the right read on it. As soon as the Snakebite lineup came through, the alarm bells started ringing for Finesse and the rest of the squad. But this is not going to be an easy round. You look at the A setup, double Nano Swarm in that tucked right position. And a turret that looks like it's in the naughty corner, just facing the wall, but does get good information.
Spots it out with 30 seconds left now.
30 seconds left.
Screen down.
See this getting really deadly. Of course, the Killjoy setup not made to really deny the plant there. Timing. Artis was hoping to win that one, but it's contained now, and that was the backup plan that was there for NRG. They are still placed into this post plant with the spike planted. And then walking towards this one. That's a jump spot around the corner. When you're this low on health, you've got to take risks, but it's on the precipice. One shot missing there. Snakebite pushing them back. If NRG win this, it could be an absolute miracle. And there we go, finally dealt with. But the reflank and the reactions can't survive it. Zelsis flick to the side, and the right click does the job.
A lot of Cloud9's ability to win those final few fights is based on the damage that they inflicted at the beginning of the round. Artis went down in one bullet because he was so weak. And the right click towards the end there too, after Victor reflanks, is much, much easier after a player's been softened up. So that is 4 out of 4 pistols won for Cloud9. Assuming they win this, again, it has been the vast majority of the rounds that they've won across this entire series. And maybe if they can find some more of those set ideas and set plays, that could be a good thing to rely on once it gets to the gun rounds.
Need something else outside of it. He may not be in 4-4 on the defensive side, so that's a nice and easy AWP. It's going to be claimed, so Finesse really prioritizing trying to build up the Seekers.
Screen down.
But backing away. This re-push by Cloud9 is quite nice. This is going to be getting him a lot of information as to where people are leaning. Doesn't spot anything. And Leaf as well, making sure to capitalize because he's pushed up right off the back of it. With all that space now, it should be Cloud9 with a very clear read of where the spike is ending.
It feels to me like Cloud9 are trying to play super aggressive on B in the first, 3-4 rounds of this half, if I was to guess how it's going to continue.
Found them.
And then try to play retake in the fourth quarter and just see if NRG get pushed back based on the conditioning.
NRG have worked their way into the side. They're going to be able to get that plant down on top of it, so extra money in the back pocket, but they're looking to take it one step further. Maybe even winning the eco would be grand, and this reflank into mid, well watched for. I don't know what Zelsis got the cue from there, but he does deal with it. Victor falling becomes that much harder, but Artis wants a little bit more. Look at this, pushing all the way deep. Left down just crashes, though. How does he win this one? Frenzy, 5 bullets. Oh my goodness, almost claiming the second.
Yeah, that's some reasonable damage done, actually. Cloud9 might be put in a situation where they buy up for round 15 again. We saw this before, where the economy got a bit wonky because Cloud9 decided to invest instead of going for a true bonus. And it looks like they might go for it again. You see Zelsis down to 250 credits there. If Rooney goes for it as well, then this becomes a strange round.
Yeah.
If Cloud9 lose.
It's a difficult call. Money's a little bit all over the place here, but NRG happy with it.
Round 13, round 14, we saw them play very aggressive over towards B. And they're not going for that. The Killjoy is still over on A, but it's now only Zephyr on the B side. A flash, a cascade, faking like it's aggressive on B, but instead playing over mid.
Might be meeting their match here. Look at this. The dog is close. No one to break in. No way! The corner doesn't get cleared, and Leaf has to back up. He's got the support. On top of that, a rifle for his troubles. Smoke to disengage. Bit of a disaster for NRG. Not really clearing a close corner.
I think that's the advantage of Cloud9 mixing it up on the defensive side, though.
Yeah.
NRG just caught unawares of what might be occurring and where the aggression was going to be happening. And look how quickly Cloud9 just dropped back. This is why they're so good in these 5v4 scenarios. They play with an incredible amount of discipline.
I don't want to give anything away. It's noted now. The hit starts to come through. Plant. Stop for a moment there. It was tapped and a fight was forced out from Rooney. Just anchoring it to the back of the site and pushing deep. Crashes has got the angle watched for, but he is alone in this instance. He's to back away, but they've brought it down now to a 3-on-3. Cloud9 playing together. They don't want to leave any gaps in their own play. Cascade is going to be cutting away at one angle, and Jakey swings wide on top of it, but goes down to the Nanoswarm.
Whoops.
2 versus 2. Bit of a mistake there. High tide in their face, though. Now you start to see it tap, drop down, flash as well. Zephyr knows it. The position's there. Crashies, you got to be kidding me. And just sticking through. Spam down. NRG coming up with just a miracle in that round.
Converting a 3v5 when we've seen Cloud9 be so good in those player-favored situations. That's miraculous. I mean, that gets NRG out of a hole, out of a really bad hole there. A massive momentum shift. If NRG start a snowball going off the back of this, off the back of the fact that Cloud9's economy is not that great, you gotta point back to round 15 as the moment where it all went wrong.
Fully blinded up, but what a fight to win. Crashies is just a difference maker in moments like that, but no time wasted here. You can see straight back into the round itself, and already 10 seconds knocked away from the clock here. It is that deep push once more, so all that early B main aggression disrespected once more. This orb is supposed to fake like they could be crossing, but Leaf, he knows otherwise, and he's going to be coming this to the rest of this team.
The 3 players that are pushed up to Cloud9, they're the only people with rifles. Zelsis, who's covering mid, and Rooney, who's anchoring A, they don't have anything. They got a Frenzy and a Sheriff. And those are the players that are going to be under pressure. The problem with pushing deep on B, and the reason why most teams don't do it, is that if you see nobody there, it's so far to rotate.
Yep, and it leaves massive gaps as well in those defensive protocols, because NRG, they're able to lurk, twist and turns through the middle section as well, the alleyways. They gained all that space. Now, Util did force themselves back, but there's 40 seconds left. They still have control of this middle area, but where do they want to land?
The timings are so strange right now.
Yeah.
Leaf got over to this site with his Blade Storm, but NRG pumped the brakes and are going for a re-hit. Does he sneak past them?
Hard clearance onto the corner, but
30 seconds
this needs to be cleared. Oh my goodness, the knives, and well, disengages in time with the dash. NRG not wasting it though. There's a moment here that they could take. Satchel up close to push them away. There needs to be a plant though, with 17 seconds on the clock. NRG want to find themselves into a post plant.
They got good ults for it too. They just got the Reckoning off the back of that.
So they might opt to use this. Yeah, hit starts to come through. They want to push it back. What a shot by Leaf. Stunned up, Cove. Not bursted. Stun's active, and a dash into what is that? Leaf with 4. But the lockdown needs to be respected. Kill claim still the round 1 off the back of that.
One singular Leaf.
Against the world.
Or all 5 players on NRG. Who wins?
That was just outlandish.
We have seen some ridiculous Blade Storm kills this week. Zekken's double updraft over on Haven. Demon 1. Yeah. But this is just as good.
Yep.
The updraft onto Artist, dash updraft again.
And the reactions there is just ridiculous.
He's falling down through the high tide.
No indicator, and that's just muscle memory, but holy, what a round to do it. If he doesn't pull that out, the lockdown pushes them back.
Yeah. It's
Cloud9 do not have enough time. No, they lose that round.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% if Leaf does not get those kills, they lose that round. Ooh. And NRG, having pulled out a miracle 3v5 in round 15, Leaf instantly responds with that. So, I talked about turning points and the momentum shifting. I didn't account for Leaf.
And not many people do.
And that, as quickly as that, the tide has turned. With Cloud9 being on a rough bye there, they had a player with a Blade Storm. They had a player with a Sheriff and a Frenzy in that round. And now NRG are the team feeling the hurt. They're only going to be able to get 1 rifle on board, and that wouldn't be a good idea. So heading out of this timeout, 8-8, Cloud9 favored.
The weird thing is as well, I think NRG have had a bit of a correct read in terms of how they wanted to play this map. If Cloud9 had taken that B main aggression, which they've been doing over and over again, they just, lurked their way through mid, took all that space there because they know it's going to be empty. There's not going to be players watching it.
Cloud9 coming into this match had an insane thrifty win rate. They were winning 33% of their eco rounds.
Just ridiculous.
32%. But I mean, straight up like a third of their eco rounds. That's monstrous. Teams normally win only about, I don't know, 10, 15% of those.
A difficult team to get a read on, this Cloud9 squad. Heavy presence. Look at this. All the Killjoy utility waiting for this B hit that's coming through. And NRG, it's going to be matching them. Artis swinging all the way through. There's a reckoning as well in his face. There's everything in his face. He's blinded up. Can't see anything.
Oh,
Nade though. That nade is good. Force the dash. Skipping a hop. Zephyr survives. How does he get away with that? Still Seekers pushing forwards. Now there's a gap in the high tide and they spam it down. Anticipating that level of aggression. No time wasted though already. Making moves through, and this back horse position needs to be critical. Finesse is there, drop down to 5 health, and too much to do.
Xelsis also almost with the ace in that round. A lot of them just by spamming, anticipating where NRG were going to be. But there it is, clean anti-eco for Cloud9. Puts them in the lead at 9-8. And at this point, Pearl is anybody's game. On both of these maps, it felt like Cloud9 didn't really have a chance in the first half. NRG were in control, and yet by virtue of Cloud9 winning the pistol, and then winning the pistol in the second half too, they've really kept things level enough that when they have that spurt of, you know, a good idea or a sick individual play, or just better prep, suddenly they're right back in it. Now, what on earth is that defensive Viper wall?
That is unusual. I mean, a huge sideline, I suppose, for the players to push through double doors there.
But also just a crazy situation for them to pop flash through. I mean, I feel like...
Yeah, I mean, that stun locked us, I think.
Zephyr's probably going to try and flash through that if B link control is taken. I've not seen a Viper wall like that.
Viper's pit laid down towards B, so not an avenue they can take.
I mean...
And yeah, this... maybe we'll see this Viper wall active, but again, the turret gets blocked off there by the high tide, and all that space taken once more. Flash doesn't get anything. Well, Zephyr's got to be aware that they could have pushed up, and yeah, now he's using the dog to re-clear, so recognizing that. 2 players spotted, so good information. What do Cloud9 want to do with it?
Is that a one-way towards the bottom as well? It looks like it.
Flash from Finesse, push back with an Nano Swarm. Time might start to become an issue in this one because NRG have been thrown for a loop. A wider swing. Victor, he's got a rifle. Why is he going for the short? Okay, I mean, why? Oh, okay, sure. Why not? Had the rifle, went for the right click, and he was blessed apparently. Coin flip, Opon's luck, still Rooney at the back, and what a reset! The aim is cool, calm and collected, yet last one standing! Can manage to shot on the Viper's pit, ducking the head down. It's laid down. Time to spare as well for the plant. NRG somehow are gifted with the post plant.
But Victor is so incredibly weak. A breath of fresh air had taken down. A sneeze.
Rifle gain now for Leaf. Contacting through into the pit. Victor gets the sideline on, but a flick through. The reactions were good. Each individual of Cloud9 winning their respective fights. And they are gaining a lead. Steadily as it comes. Off the back of that Leaf 4K, nevertheless. I mean, the momentum has just swung.
It certainly has. And you see the ult advantage in that round too. Despite the fact that Jake went down, but Rooney's anchoring there is gorgeous.
Really nice to get to.
Still definitely winnable for NRG. They had a 2v2 with the pit up. They had their chances to be able to win that, but it's been 5 retake rounds in the half for C9.
Turret out.
And it's not like they've been playing super heavy B retake with the Viper walls and the Harbor walls like we've seen in the past. It's actually been a level of aggression that puts them in favored positions. Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah. Bit of a self-blinder does happen. Locked down the line of sight angle though. This is Leaf. Dash still active as well. Jiggling. Double swing and skewered.
Spike down.
Can't withstand it. Leaf just is that guy.
Spike drop, 3v5. We've seen NRG win them, but not with this level of poor weaponry.
Finished. My ultimate
They're watching
is
for it.
ready.
They know that NRG have been exploring mid and are at these player disadvantage rounds. It's watched for. with the Stingers looking like an impossibility. Cloud9 looking like they're going to claim that 11th round on the board for them. On top of that one, a few away from these ultimates. Some positionings watched for the bait and switch. Rooney holding close. Masterclass from Cloud9, the way they play these rounds, so disciplined.
The question for me heading into the next, do NRG try to invest a lot of utility and pressure early to take a part of the map where they think Leaf is going to be open?
30 seconds left.
Victor knows he's not got really too much of a hope of winning that one. But they know that Leaf is open. They just spotted him in A main. And normally it is very difficult to get good op value on this map. You will have a cascade in your face here most of the time.
Spike down A.
It's an eco round for NRG, so, you know, you can't really blame them too much for how they played that situation. But coming into this one, when they have rifles, coming out of a timeout, how do they play this? Do they want to take early B long control? Are they going to invest? Cascade, flash, really try to pressure and take that fight if Cloud9 are playing it aggressively? Where on the map do they want to establish early control, and how do they want to navigate around Leaf's op?
There's so many variables to consider. You've seen this NRG push to the limits.
And for the first time in the series, Cloud9 are actually even with NRG on the gun rounds. We were talking about it earlier. Cloud9 had gotten close-ish on Haven and close-ish in the first half on Pearl just by winning the pistols. They won a Thrifty. They've won the anti-ecos when they needed to. But now they're actually starting to get value from the operator, from the guns, from having a set game plan that's really throwing NRG off. And the way that Finesse was controlling the map on the attack side of Haven, it is different here. He's not been able to mess with Cloud9's defending rotations and open up all the space he needs.
How do you navigate it? The question you posed earlier with Leaf's operator now setting up common position. That's where a lot of Jet players like to play. Is he on top of the screens? It looks like it. Normally there's going to be that cascade in your face, so you can't get too much done. And yep, the util's popped up. The flash as well. Good diligence there by NRG just to really make sure that it's clear. The dog, I think, also spots this house. Now they know where the operator is. The Leaf was saving his dash. Wants another go of it.
This is so much utility. Both cascades, flash, trailblazer. This is everything. But I think you've got to commit B, and also Cloud9 know it's coming because they've pushed out A main.
The Reckoning's used there. High Tide pushing back, has to clear the common corners. This with the nade up top, just in case there's anyone setting up Heaven, looking to try and deny that plant from being spammed down. But this is the other level to it, the lockdown. Place down at Heaven, and this reflank from Cloud9 is so damn important. It needs to be contained. So many different levels to it. There's going to be a detainment there into the back of the halls, but this fight is also critical. A distraction there, reset, spamming it down. Finesse does trade it. Fight on equal levels, showstopper. It sings true, but it's sprayed down as well. Left up to Crashies. The Reckoning can't stand his ground here. Can't stand his ground at all, but he almost manages still. Right down to the wire. Celsius gets to the fuse. Cloud9 on 12, and they are one step closer to bringing us to that map number 3.
Only one step away. And Cloud9's approach to the retakes is so different to how other teams are playing this. Yes, there is still that Viper and Harbor utility coming through, but there aren't many teams that are trying to double flank and just apply that pressure onto the post-plant positions from both sides. And C9 didn't commit super heavily to the flank play. Zeppa just tried to basically distract and allow his players on site some space. I think this is a really nice idea of how to play the defense. Definitely well prepped, and it's causing NRG so many issues. It feels very similar here, though. The Cascade gets used, both flashes get used. They're trying to push Leaf away. The spike, however, is heading towards A. This is where Finesse tries to use his brain to manipulate.
Trying to grab the orb as well. The walls are dissipating. You can feel the mistakes creeping into the play. Leaf was granted so many opportunities. Finally claims the kill, but this is what it was all for. The lurk attempt through, nade into the back. Jake's pushed out of that position, and could he get away with it? Doesn't go down to the rifle spam. The spike's still in their hands. It feels A little bit half-baked almost as well. They're trying to fake like it's B, but Cloud9 just containing.
They've got Som into a very deep position over at B right now, so the spike is coming back to him. Leaf with the first kill. He's been incredible with them in the map so far. And Cloud9 have also won 10 out of 11 rounds where they've been in a 5v4. So they're still really good in these player advantage situations. It is going to be difficult for NRG to dig themselves out of this hole. But it does feel more like a finesse round, where he's messed with the defender rotations, got somebody deep, and is going to return back to them.
Ball comes up just in time for Crashies to be able to get into the side and get this plant down. Has the lockdown on top of it, but it's do or die. How does this get played? Still holding on to the back holes, control. There's the lockdown now. This is going to be pushing them back. Does Cloud9 even have an answer for this one? Yes, they want to try and flood in to the crosshair placement. Aris with 2, and you have to give up all your hopes and dreams of trying to play that one fast.
Still got a lot of money to try and commit back in, though. 3 rifles versus 3.
Yeah, they want to try and fight this one. Back horse still locked down. Som, he's got to be dealt with. Nana Swarms away. Vulnerable duck. Cloud9 running out of options. Trying to deal with Som this entire time. A wider swing, but time has been bought nevertheless. Unwinnable round for Cloud9. NRG, they take it forwards. One step at a time of Crashies to sole survivor.
It's big. Huge impact from Finesse there in terms of how he was calling the round. It's a good idea at the beginning to go for the fake, and despite losing a player, the mid-round call is excellent too, to return back to B. Very proactive from Som. I appreciate that.
Nice.
But at the same time here, that only drops Cloud9 down to an 83% win rate when they're 5v4. You know, it's still just a drop in the bucket. NRG have got to pull those back off 3 in a row. Cloud9 still with those 3 opportunities left to take us to Ascent.
And they're big ones. NRG have been able to get into these post plants and win them with big ultimates, but they don't have anything this round. With how narrowly they ended up winning that with only Crashy surviving, the money isn't even that good either. Instead, they're going fast here. Not backing away, not shying away. There's going to be util used to try and push them back. Both snake bites committed now by Cloud9. Jake trying to push them away.
And NRG have been ending B in almost all of these rounds. And remember that Cloud9 were pushing very aggressively on most of the rounds in this defending half. This time, round 21 and round 22, they've been bunkered down a little more. And they haven't got that space, and that also means they don't have that info. This could be a fake.
This position by Rooney as well is beautiful. Using a turret as well as a bit of a shield. The extra element they have to burst through. He's trying to take that angle. NRG are running out of time now, and it has to be now. With 30 seconds remaining. Cove, drop down, spam down, broken. Plant has to go off about a hit. Shatardis who claims, but a reflect away! What a spray down! Spike was planted in the middle of it. It's a 2 versus 3. Leaf retaken with this operator. Open and fight needs to be taken. And it's how you win these duels. That's what's important. Leaf watching one avenue. Misses the shot. Lovely re-swing. Isolated. High tide blocks off one of the angles. Som's weak though. 52 health. Could be spammable, but time running out. Tap of it. Baiting the swings. Cove used. Another bait. Holding the ground. Celsius swings to the side. Is there going to be time? No way! That is just magnificent, and with time to spare, Cloud9 clean up the round, clean up the map. We are going the distance.
A huge win by Cloud9, delivering that loss to NRG and taking us to a 3rd. And I was critical about that gun round success in the first 3 halves of this series so far, but that defense side looked beautiful, both in terms of their aggression at B, the way that they were clearing out A main, the retakes, and that hold. Very nice stuff. You could definitely see the preparation that they put in there, probably anticipating NRG going for that pick. And now as we head towards map 3, everything is up in the air. We haven't seen NRG play Ascent since August of last year. We don't know what roles they're going to be playing. We've never seen it with Ardis. It is completely up to whether Cloud9 can pull this off.
With how Leaf's playing, it's going to be a hell of a task for NRG. Previous favorites of North America as well, when there was that optic core. leading the standings, but not for much longer. Currently sitting at 1 and 2, pushed to the brink by the dark horse that is Cloud9. That ascent map is going to answer so many questions. It's so damn interesting, but enough about us. Time for a quick break. When we return, the analysts will get us ready for that map number 3.